Alright guys, welcome back to another episode of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Last episode. I can't remember what we did last episode, but we are doing the waxwork plot from Sis's testimony. It all began with the scene when I saw that waxwork and note tucked inside its jacket. The actual body of the victim, as indicated in the note's instructions, was beneath the experimentation stage. The body had to be arranged in certain ways to implicate the defendant, which was my job. I enlisted the help of the entire forensic investigation team to dress the scene appropriately. The truth about the execution 10 years ago is a secret of the highest level. I had to protect it. Damn. Hiding the So I was right, the stage and the machine were all specifically designed for the deception. So it seems, and all meticulously prepared, you did well to see through it. You're a very shrewd boy. So kind of you to say. But what about the autopsy report then? All I did was to record the location of the body as being in Crystal Tower instead of under the stage. That's all? That's a terrible corruption. Only my team were aware of the deceit, and then only under my explicit instruction. Nobody else at Scotland Yard knew anything about it, I assure you. Because Scotland Yard's been useless this entire case, of course. We must be thankful for small mercies, I suppose. Well, I believe that testimony has clarified everything. There's no particular need for a cross-examination, I would say. No, I disagree. I can't shake the feeling that something is wrong. Just look at that expression on Dr. Stipes. She's smiling. You're acting so smug right now that you think you got this in the bag. It's the defense's right to cross-examine any witness following testimony. What is it about you Japanese makes you so doggedly persistent? Oh, come on. You're gonna be racist right now? Jesus Christ, guys. Alright, fine then. Have it your way. Alright, have it your way, Dr. Seif. If you're just gonna be racist like that. Very well. If you so desire, Counsel, proceed with the cross-examination. Yes, my lord. Alright, let's do this. The waxwork plot. Press every single statement that we can. From what you described before, it sounds like the note was anonymous. Did you have any idea who was behind it? There are very few people in the know about what really happened that 10 years ago to start with. But anyway, I never heard of this engineer, so no, I had no idea. Yet despite not knowing who was behind the plan, you went along with it? I had no choice. Protecting the professor's secret was my only concern. But the horse has bolted now, and the stable door will never shut again. Scotland Yard's reputation will be immeasurably damaged as a result of all this. Yes, thank you, Lord Von Zeeks. I'm well aware of that. If so, I understand it. What you found in the birdcage was the waxwork model. Where, then, was the victim's body? The actual body of the victim, as indicated in the note's instructions, was beneath the experimentation stage. Oops. Okay, press it. Yeah, we know that. So you knew about the special construction of the stage used to carry out the trick then. It was quite obvious what happened with the victim and the waxwork. And you switched the two over, didn't you? In other words, you recorded the victim's body as having been discovered in the Crystal Tower, and the waxwork? I wrapped it and sent it to the carriage to the specified address at that specified time. And why were you given such directions? Presumably, so it could be recovered by Drebber and returned to Madame Two-Spells. I see. So you then put the birdcage back on the experimentation stage? Yes, although someone obviously made a mistake about which cage should go where. I thought I made it perfectly clear to the team, but still. I suppose you are focused on the victim's body, that being a more important detail? Yeah, I agree. Just to time the framing, when you say arrange, I would assume you mean with this. Yep. Yes, instructions in the engineer's notes said something along the lines of fabricate some evidence to make it clear that Harebrained alone could have killed Asmin. Ah. So you mean that was your doing? I fetched Harebrained's ridiculous screwdriver from the stage and took it with me, alone, to the abyss under the stage where the birdcage had fallen. Alone, Doctor? I didn't feel it would be appropriate to involve anybody else in that particular part of the deception. I see. There was a void under the stage where I found a birdcage lying in the dirt. I approached it, leaned down, and slowly opened it up. Then, I took the screwdriver in both hands and plunged it into the man's chest. Ooh. And then you noted that in your fake autopsy report. As a fictitious cause of death. Exactly. So, the actual cause of death was the trauma resulting from the 30-foot drop. Ah. My word! What is it, Musasato? Something about Dr. Sipes' last statement is plain on my mind, that's all. Yes, mine too, yeah. I could sense there must be something else towards that statement. Advisor testimony? Dr. Sipe! There's really no need to shout. I could hear you perfectly well. The defense calls for you to add what you just said to your formal testimony. Oh. Which part? What I want her to in her testimony is... So we gotta choose which one? So I'm guessing, like, this statement number 3 is gonna be the real one, but we gotta figure out which two we need. Alright, real cause of death. The real cause of death being the fall of 30 feet, that part. Fine, if that's what you want. Just stop yelling, please. The prosecution concurs. Very well, you will supplement your testimony now, witness. If you wish, my lord. The actual cause of death was the neck trauma Asmin suffered from a 30-foot fall. You're quite sure of that? It was a result of a broken neck? Yes. As a professional, that was more than apparent. You never know just by looking at the photograph of the victim, would you? No, that's very true. Obviously not. Which is precisely why coroners are needed to determine the actual facts. Yes, assuming they can be trusted. There's no need to calling her assessment into question without evidence. Now, let's get back to the testimony. Very well. Keep going. The whole team was in on it, obviously. The entire team in perverting the course of justice? My team consists with the best investigators there are. I demand loyalty from all members. We operate on a code of chivalry of sorts. You aid and abet a murderer, commit perjury, and dare talk of chivalry. Yeah. Perjury is also the thing. It was a matter of priorities. What? Nani? Nothing more important than protecting the secret of the professor. My team did what was necessary without losing the sight of the primary goal, and considered their conduct exemplary. Ugh! Now concede the point, Mr. Naruhodo. You mustn't let her win. I need a lawyer. We are a lawyer, Naruhodo. Take that silence as tacit acceptance. Now, can we move on? Why go so far? But at what cost? Faith in Scotland Yard is going to suffer a terrible blow of this. They're going to keep suffering blows because Scotland Yard is actually still useless. And your precious secret is out anyhow anyway. Yes, as you say. I take full responsibility. Blow me down, Dr. Scythe! Surely there's no other way you could have protected a secret. No, it really wasn't. I done my utmost, believe me. In many ways, I respect your determination. Phew, I nearly froze under that cold stare as she said that. I do believe she was being genuine though, Mr. Naruhodo. Yeah, we gotta get statement number 4. So that's her story. She admitted everything, revealed her full involvement in the crime. I do wonder if there could be really much more to it. Well, I don't know, but I just have a feeling. Do you, Mr. Naruhodo? The truth is, I find it strange, too. How those two are reacting to this in completely opposite ways, I mean. Yeah, he's not responding. Yes, exactly. For some reason, I feel sure they're trying to hide something. The question is, do we even present anything from that statement? Because was it really a 30-foot fall? So this is the stab wound that she caused, of course. And yo, CK Vice, thanks for the follow. But anyways, welcome to the stream, Team 11037 anyway. The question is... what's... So we already know, like, this autopsy report was her doing. She wrote everything. Trauma is the thing. It said trauma. Of course, the professor. Drebber. Neck trauma. The question is, how did neck trauma even happen? If you look at the neck, it looks completely fine. Like, how does neck trauma even happen? Great game, are you enjoying? Yes, I am enjoying this game. We are trying to finish case number 3, game number 2. And then after that, will be something else. But anyways, we're trying to finish this episode. I'm so confused. Fuck. Alright. I don't know. I don't think that statement had anything. Okay, I think we have to change the statement for sure. Okay. Do this. We recount the engineer's instructions in his words. Fabricate some evidence to make it clear that harebrained alone could have killed it. Yes, we know that. Yeah, we gotta change the statement at least. Yep, she stabbed it. Yep, we discussed that. Yeah. The question is, We need to change the statement. I don't think I'm confident with that first change statement, because I feel like there's no evidence for it. Yeah, we could supplement that different statement. Have her change it. Dr. Seif, what would you say before what you did to the victim's body? I believe that may be significant, so can you change your supplementary statement to explain that instead? Very well. I stood over the victim's corpse where it lay in the complication and plunged the screwdriver in its chest. So it was you who stabbed Mr. Asman with this? Yes, far easier than dissection, I assure you. No precision required. What a welcome change. Victim died instantly from a snapped neck. All I did was carry out the instructions I'd been given. As unflinchingly as ever, no doubt. I imagine you didn't bat an eyelid when you drove the weapon into his body. There was no need for to bat my eyelids. And what else did you do with the twist of facts? Remind the court, why don't you? If you wish. Stood over the blah blah blah, wearing laying atop a cage and plugged. I am stumped right now. Like seriously. Just plunge a screwdriver into the chest, okay? So we know that. Yeah. So you did what you did, just to create a fake autopsy report. But why, though? Is the question. I'm this close. Yeah, and the blood is there, too. I'm so confused. Okay. Oh. Okay, there's something been bothering me. Where did these glass crystals come from? Is what I really want to know. How did these things come here? So let's just say you assume, okay, it dropped down. And then like, yeah, the crystals too. I feel like that'd be a big, huge problem. Like if you did stab it, wouldn't the blood be splattered everywhere? No backseating. No backseating allowed. But anyway. I appreciate it. I'm not too stumped. But okay, I'm just gonna present this. I have 2 lives left. So I gotta pray that this works. Oh, it does work. I got a nasty feeling that this inconsistency points to an extremely comfortable truth. Ooh, new music? What on earth is the matter, Counsel? Have you lost your tongue? I apologize, my lord. Dr. Seif, in that last statement of yours, there's just one point that seems to defy explanation. Out with it, my learned friend. There's an obvious inconsistency between your description and this photograph, which shows the victim in the birdcage falling instantly led to his death. Why don't you? The court has already examined the photograph in depth. There's nothing new we can learn from it. Yes, we already considered it, that's true. We now know the facts to be different. What do you mean? I believe we should let the defense explain. More in this photograph we see at least is consistent with the witness statement. You did stab right here. Wait. This is something that's been bothering me. Why specifically here? You could have targeted any other place, but you specifically targeted here. Okay, if we assume the... Okay. If this is involving the stab wound, we gotta, like, feel like these glass things don't have any place into him. I'm just... Yeah. The stab wound is the only thing that makes sense. Okay, let me present. Look closely at the bloodstain in the victim's chest. It clearly extends downward. Oh, I see. Oh, wait. I thought it was just blood dripping. But then I realized, you slashed it downwards? Jesus. Extends a downwards direction towards the man's feet. What? Why is that significant, Counsel? If the victim was stabbed moments before the kinesis machine was set in motion, that's entirely expected. Oh, of course, no, that's not what happened. Exactly, my lord. Dr. Seif made it very clear in her testimony just now that the point which she stole Professor Harebrain's screwdriver and stabbed the victim, right down here, was after the grand deception was set in motion, when the birdcage had fallen below the stage out of sight. From the shape of it, it's clear that the birdcage would have fallen on its side 30 foot after the 30-foot drop. And if the victim had really been stabbed while inside the birdcage in that position, the blood from the wound would have spread out equally in all directions. For it to form a longitudinal appearance we see in this picture is inconceivable. Gah. Given that the victim's blood seeped vertically downwards from the wound, it must be the case that when you stabbed Mr. Asman, he was standing up. What? Don't tell me. In short, Dr. Seif, your latest testimony was a total fabrication! He was alive? Or something? But why? I knew it. I was right. Now I've identified the contradiction. There's only one way to explain the facts. We've all been under a great misapprehension here. Nani? What sort of misapprehension? Dr. Seif. You claim you were coerced into helping Mr. Drebber as a result of the note he left in the waxwork. You claim that you made changes to the scene of the crime to implicate the defendant. And you claim that you authored a fake autopsy report to cover your tracks. Well, one of those claims is an out-and-out lie, because the question of what the bloodstain really tells us has only one possible answer. If that is the case, what is it, man? Counsel, you clearly struck upon a revelation. Now tell the court what it is. Which part of Dr. Seif's story is shown to be a lie by the contradiction in their testimony? I know she lied about the autopsy report, right? But the stabbing a victim is obviously the contradiction, so the answer is very simple. If you consider the sequence of events, if when the victim was stabbed, blood from the wound seeped downwards as it did, we can be sure that the victim must have been either sitting or standing upright at the time. But you rightfully pointed out the birdcage would have fallen on its side when it fell beneath the birdcage. Yes, it would, which tells us that the victim must have been in that position of his own accord. That's impossible. The man was dead. Remember? Or was he? No, that is the misapprehension. When the birdcage fell from the stage into the void below, it must have hit the ground with considerable force. And he was alive. But Mr. Asman didn't die in the fall. He probably lost consciousness for a while. When he came around, he got to his feet and climbed out of the cage. Just as Dr. Scythe appeared. And boom. If the victim was in fact alive at that point in time, it changes everything. No way, he was alive! Ooh, died while alive. Mr. Odie Asman's killer wasn't the defendant Professor Albert Harebrain, nor was the mastermind behind the stage trickery Mr. Anat Streber. It was you, Dr. Courtney Scythe! Gah. Huh? Ora! Can this possibly be true? Have you been taking me for a fool? It was you, wasn't it? You killed him? Oh nah. You hope by admitting to being an accomplice in Mr. Dreber's scheme, the trial would end before you were accused of a far worse crime. Cold-blooded murder. Oh, do shut up. You're so desperate now. You're making this all up, as if I would do something like that. Objection! I assure you, the defense is not desperate, Doctor. Mr. Naruhodo has established the facts using evidence and logic alone. Logic? Don't make me laugh. Sadly, your logic has a gaping hole in it. Nani? What do you mean? I'd have thought it was obvious. Motive, boy. You're lacking in motive. Yes. Motive. What possible reason would I have to kill Mr. Asman? Mr. Asman was involved in any number of criminal activities, from coercion to theft to murder. But there is no connection to Dr. Scythe there. Rather relieved to say it does seem far-fetched. True, there's no obvious motive, but there's still something in the back of my mind. I feel sure I've seen somewhere that hints why the coroner might have done this. Yes, I might have tampered with the crime scene and concocted a fake report, but that murdering someone for no reason is a very different story. No, you must have had a reason. Well, no. When you question what possible reason could you wanted to kill Mr. Asman, something did come to mind. Nani? Well, was it counsel enlightened the court at once? Yes, we saw it yesterday, didn't we? Something that seemed strange, but we had no reason to suspect it at the time. There's a particular object that explains why Dr. Scythe would have wanted to kill Mr. Asman. Scalpels? The screwdriver. The iron mass? What does the iron mass have to do with this? Scalpels. Alright, let me see some evidence real quick. Fuck, can I not check for evidence? I know it had something to do with Professor Trevor's contract. Is it really the scalpels? I don't think it was the screwdriver. Screwdriver's the murder weapon. Iron Mask has nothing. Okay, I'm just gonna go scalpels. It's a scalper, or rather, scalpels. Did you say scalpels? It would appear that word has struck a chord, Doctor. Come on, out with it. It was yesterday, when you visited your laboratory. Look at this big thick book here. Oh, the book that we explored for. It appears to be an accounting ledger. It's a record of forensic investigation team's spendings, I think. Oh? What is it? It's clear that the team's purchases various equipment and some eyes on a monthly basis, but, well, one entry seems rather strange. Really? What way? They're buying 500 scalpers every month. 500. 500 scalpels a month? At first I wondered what on earth could you be using that many scalpels for. It did feel strange that it was 500. Why 500 specifically? But I realized that's not the scalpels themselves that are significant. It's the money for them, disappearing every month from the department's accounts. Asman's criminal organization relied heavily on an extortion for its funding. Tracing the money from the forensic investigation team's account to find out where it was going would be extremely straightforward. 10 years ago, when Mr. Asman was still a journalist and wrote this article about Mr. Drebber, he may as well have stumbled upon info. He was researching the story. Info relating to Dr. Sipe's darkest secret that he would use to rack money from her for the next decade. Her darkest secret? Good lord, you mean... The fake autopsy report. Newspaper article. I don't know what happened the night of that execution 10 years ago, but clearly the opportunity to rid yourself of that menace was too tempting to pass up. So in the end, you weren't coerced at all worried. You did it entirely of your own free will. You stabbed Mr. Asman in the heart with all your might. To silence the blackmailer who knew your dark secret forever. You'll never understand. None of you. What we had to be covered all these long years. I guess she admits it. But at what cost, though? You got your revenge for the blackmail, but... But what about Mr. Drebber? As very little of the machine remains after it was ripped apart by the bomb, the truth of this case can never be properly established unless you speak out. And if you decide not to, it's very possible that Courtney Sipe will escape punishment for her crimes. Please, sir, own up to what you've done and tell the court the truth about what happened. "10 years ago, you told the truth, and you were robbed of a bright and successful future as a result. I can certainly understand your bitterness and your consternation now. However, this is surely the chance you've been waiting for, to sever the hold that fate's had over you all these years." Super high voltage instantaneous kinesis? I mean, really. It's the addle-brain mock scientists that are the worst, you know. They don't recognize the fact that you don't have any talent. They can't even get that right. So they end up chasing the impossible dreams, having unbridled faith in their own abilities. And they go on about their wonderful hypothesis their stupid eyes shining like a little child's. They make me sick. I can't abide their foolishness. Sure. Careful, Mr. Drebber. Sure. Sorry, guys. Talking to my dad. I was particularly pleased with the kinesis machine. It made for quite a show, didn't it? So you admit it? You admit it was nothing more than a sham, made for the purpose of killing the victim? Yes, I admit it. I did it all in the name of revenge. Revenge for the future that Mr. Aspen's article had deprived you of your 10 years earlier. But the revenge you sought didn't stop at Aspen, did it? Which is where that very particular waxwork comes in. Yes, I see. The condemned victim that you saw rising from the grave in Lowgate Cemetery 10 years ago. If your account of those events was all true, then obviously Scotland Yard couldn't afford to acknowledge what had happened. Scotland Yard's useless, even amid discrediting a bright young man and crushing any future career he might have had. So your plan to acquire you about to abduct that particular waxwork model in order to exact your revenge on Scotland Yard as well? Or on Dr. Seif to be precise? It was a year ago. By some extraordinary twist of fate, Aspen turned up at my workshop. He didn't remember who I was, of course. He just wanted to employ my services as an engineer. And he happened to have a paper with him. An article on the front page caught my eye about the coroner who handled the bogus autopsy report being appointed head of a new forensic team. I wanted to alert that news. My cognitive processes started to devise the plan. What a horrid tale. He robbed me of my future, so I wanted to use the man's own wiles against him for revenge. And have that rotten Scotland Yard eating out of my hand at the same time. I wanted to all to suffer the same humiliation I had to suffer. So that's it then. Your actions against those who ruin your future were justified as revenge, at least to yourself. Certainly no one has the right to destroy another's prospects, especially for a purely selfish gain. And yet, in carrying out your plan, you did exactly that to someone else, didn't you? Did I? Professor Harebrain's only crime was passion for his hypothesis. But he had no compunction about sacrificing his future to effect your revenge. You knew that he would be forever branded a failure and a fraud. Perhaps life treated you unfairly 10 years ago, and others' misconduct left your life in tatters. But remember this, your own actions resulted in the same thing for another perfectly innocent young man. Yeah. I... Harebrain was the fall guy for this. You used him as part of your plans. And Dr. Seif too. Lord Von Zeeks, what up Dr. Seif? An immediate warrant for her arrest has been granted, and she's been remanded in custody, my lord. The question is, why did Strongheart, make sure to not put her in court, but Von Zeeks wanted to put her in court. I presume she will face trial in the coming days, along with Mr. Drebber. A most regrettable situation indeed. She's made great contributions to her profession over the years. It really is a hard truth to swallow. However, that is a topic for some future occasion. For now, Professor Harebrain. Oh, yes. It seems there was a great deal more to your experiment than you realized. However, I think we can assume now that all the sordid details have been brought to light. This has been a very long and profound trial, but I'm pleased to say you're absolute of all guilt. This whole experience has taught me a very great but painful lesson. This dedicated scientist, this devotee of natural philosophy. I've been selfish and self-centered, and above all, a fool. Professor. I've spent my life thinking of nothing but my research, misguidedly believing that I could do whatever I set my mind to despite my lack of talent. And the worst of it is, in the process, I've caused others pain and misery. Others who are far, far greater people than I, Pepe Hens. You can do it, Professor. You just gotta believe it. No, Professor. That's not true. Nani? Don't tar yourself with the same brush as Drebber. What happened was his doing and his alone. This outcome is his fate, not yours. You're not to blame in any way. Lord Von Zeeks, you really do care. And the derision which he preferred to you earlier, calling you a fool, talentless even. The man has no idea. To believe in yourself and work your fingers to the bone to realize your dreams. That's laudable, not laughable. No one has the right to deride another for such choices. Oh. Thank you, Barak. So, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Yes, my lord. Is this court's expectation that you find the defendant not guilty of charge of which he stands accused? I presume there are no objections. None for me, my lord. Certainly not. Well, this trial has really made me think, but this is the right decision. Oh, it's all been proven methodically and rigorously. I have no misgivings whatsoever. What's that? He's done. It's all over. Fucking sakes, juror number 5. I don't know what's become of the yard these days, but I don't recognize the place. The yard is useless. Very well. In that case, I hereby pronounce the defendant not guilty. Wow! Wow! Another case not guilty. Case closed. Easy. Easy. I'm a genius at this, by the way. You guys can call me a genius. Court is adjourned. Hell yeah, boys. Hell yeah. It's over. That was some trial. Easiest trial of my damn life. Okay, antechamber. But, Professor, what a splendid outcome, isn't it? Oh, it is, it is. Congratulations, Professor Harebrain. Mr. Naruto, Miss Susato, I am truly beside myself with gratitude. How could I ever thank you enough? I'm just glad it's all been cleared up. That you realize you were just caught up in a terrible, bad situation. Right now, you know, if I had that research grant money. I'd give you a whole lot to you, every penny. Pepe hands, you don't get that money. Well, that's very kind, but I'm just a student, so... We don't need any financial reward. Your acquittal's more than enough. I feel like we could have deserved a reward, but... Honor. Honor, you say? Oh dear, what can I do? Maybe this is why Phoenix Wright... It was always, like, was always poor. He can only afford an apartment. But anyway, how about this? As a memento, the paper about my hypothesis is inside. The fuck? Why is it so small? Well, just a memento then. Thank you. Okay, it was like a souvenir. I've been wondering, Professor. What are you going to do now? Oh my, yes! What am I going to do? My hypothesis of my great machine lies in ruin. But still, it's been too long since I was last in London, so perhaps I'll enjoy some sightseeing. I must explore the great exhibition while I'm here, and see if new inspiration hits me. Oh yes, that's a wonderful idea. I can't allow that. Huh? Von Zeeks? Lord Von Zeeks? What are you doing in here? Barak! I'm sorry you had to go through that, Albert. Well, if I'm honest, it was terrifying. You were like a great demon behind your bench there, snarly down on your prey. True. You're one of the few true friends I have. I couldn't leave it to anybody else to handle the prosecution. Or the defense. Sorry? Or the defense? Did I just hear that right? Huh? I always knew you had your best interests at heart. Don't worry. How about you show me around while I'm here, in town? It's been a long time since we left university. We have a lot to catch up on. Listen, Albert. In a few days, your acquittal will be made official. And when that happens, you must head straight to Dover. I'll accompany you. Nani? From there, you cross the channel, make your way back to Germany. I already purchased a ticket. Huh? He's gonna leave? But no, wait a minute, Barak. What about the great exhibition? There's a chance of a lifetime for me. No, I felt myself... No sightseeing, Albert. Give up on the idea. Sometimes it's hard to see any warmth in those eyes, Barak. Lord Von Zeeks. What's all this about? Unnecessary precaution. Yes, I think I understand. You do? Oh. Those who are alive, those who are innocent by the trial, something unfortunate happens to the victim or to the defense. Well, Iris told me when you met Lord Von Zeeks at his office some days ago, he asked how Mr. Natsumi was doing. Yes, that's right. I remember being surprised at the time. I think it was nice of him to ask. Point is, Mr. Natsumi is still alive. Well, yeah. He survived trial twice in a row. Even though it's been more than 6 months now since he stood trial with the Reaper as the prosecutor. You mean the Reaper's influence doesn't stretch overseas? Those in the Reaper's sights meet their ends. End days are sometimes months after their acquittal. That's been the pattern up to now. Yeah, I agree. But of course, we know that both Mr. Natsumi and Gina were completely innocent. Gina's still here. True. And perhaps that governs the Reaper's actions. The truly innocent are spared. But I don't want to take any chances with a close personal friend. Barak! Like the mustache Nipponese, this man should leave the country without any delay. That's why I'm packing him off to Germany at once. Right. Does your friend-shaped package get any say in it? Goodness, was this your intention all along then, Lord Von Zeeks? He really cares about Herobrine. In court, where people think of him as the Reaper, this man seems absolutely merciless. And yet, sometimes, I feel I don't understand him at all. Yeah? I know, breakfast. It is time to go, Albert. Back to the prison for the time being. Yes, alright. Well then, Mr. Naruhodo. Thank you so much for everything. Not at all, Professor. It was a pleasure getting to know you. Best wishes, Professor Harebrain. Well, once the dust has settled, you must come to visit me in Germany. And anyway, goodbye for now. And this will be the last time you hear Harebrain's voice from me, even though I really like doing it. Now, my Nipponese friend. Oh, yes, I thought you'd gone too. We have matters to discuss. Can you spare me some time? You want to talk with me? Oh, you finally open up to me? I'll be waiting in the courtroom in 10 minutes. I remember you did this at the end of Case 5, last game. Well, that was strange. For some reason, I didn't get that sense of impending doom as he walked away this time. Alright. The Enigma. Barak von Zeeks. What does he want to discuss, I wonder? The answer awaits in the courtroom, I suppose. Well, here goes then. Alright. The question is, what does he want to talk about? And the thing is still there in the middle. And his assistant. So, are you satisfied you saved a guileless scientist from a great injustice? Yes, I think so. I'm relieved at least that the man's innocence could be proven. Anyway, I imagine you've been wondering where my animosity towards you Nipponese comes from. Yeah, I agree. I would love to know the truth. Well, at first I thought you just didn't like me. I imagine you saw me as a pretentious child from an unimportant land. You had no business being here. But now I think different. You clearly know our ways, so I would guess that some specific incident led to your thorough dislike of my race? Will you tell me what happened, please? The Professor. I thought I'd never hear that name in this courtroom again, to be honest. He took your brother's life. Clint. My brother was Clint von Zeeks. 16 years ago, when I was still just in my teens, he was already the director of prosecutions and a key member of the judiciary. I looked up to him. He was everything I aspired to be. He was involved in the establishment of justice systems in foreign countries as well. There were exchange programs between Britain and other nations then, too, to share knowledge and ideas. As part of one of those programs, 3 judicial students came to Britain from your homeland, the Empire of Japan. Oh. It was 16 years ago then. One of them could have been my father. Of course. I remember Dr. Mikotoba as well. I had no idea. I was a minor at the time, training at the prosecutor's office. One day, Clint introduced me to the 3 visiting Nipponese. So, you've actually met my father. He and his colleagues were polite and amicable. They were all adept at their work and exacting in their own standards. It was my first encounter with the Nipponese spirit, and it made me a great impression upon me. But 6 years later, that's when it happened. The investigation was going nowhere. There were no suspects, just an ever-growing list of victims. And in the end, my brother became one of them. The last, in fact, before the case was finally resolved. I'm so sorry, Lord Von Zeeks. Truly. Clint was always ready to put his life on the line for justice anyway. So he wouldn't have wanted any other way. He lost his life to the killer, but it was his victory in the end. For me personally, though it was a great loss, I found myself in a very dark place indeed. When I found out the killer's identity, the reason why no one's been able to catch the man sooner ceased to be such a mystery. He'd been hiding in plain sight all the time. Plain sight? Are you aware of the political events 10 years ago? It was a period of extremely sensitive diplomacy between the British and Japanese empires. A new treaty was being forged, I think? Treaty of Friendship. Correct. The Anglo-Japanese Treaty of Friendship and Navigation was being concluded. The leaders of both countries were deep in extensive political discussions. Which is why this particular killer's appearance in court was conducted as a closed trial. If the British public had known the identity of the killer, not only would the treaty have been in jeopardy, but our 2 nations could very well have ended up at war. Oh no, World War? Nani? A war between Britain and Japan? But that would mean, oh my, you mean to say the professor was... Huh?
今日審理が終わった時、時が来た。そう思った。貴公たちがこの恐るべき殺人鬼と対面する時が。
Wait, we're gonna see his face? Who is it?
あの老人形の館の女主人から仮面の鍵を借り受けた。その目でしかと確かめるがいい。10年前の真実。
Oh, who is it? Huh?
これがプロフェッサーの正体。
その通り。
Who is it?
今まで考えたこともありませんでした。英国犯罪史上最悪の事件、その殺人鬼の正体が日本人だったなんて。
Huh? The professor was Japanese? Huh? But why? Why?
待ってください。この面影。
Huh? You know that
ど
face?
こかで見たことがある。そんな気がいたします。
Huh? 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 No, that hair.
父上。
No. This... No way.
父上。
Father. It's Kazuma.
あ、葬儀。
Yo! Yo!
あ、葬儀カズマ。
Kazuma!
1年の時を経て今、すべての記憶を取り戻して。
Wait. Wait a minute. That means the Russian girl was in it, even though she attempted murder. Oh boy. And he's alive now. Kazuma.
久しぶりだな。友よ。
You're back, boy. But you said your father.
御言葉法務女子。長い間ご苦労だった。礼を言う。私の代わりに友をここに導いてくれた。
カズマ様。
I did it all for you,
やっ
man.
ぱり生きていたんだな。あ、葬儀。
Like, we did this for you. After we thought you died, but
貴様にも礼を言わねばならない。何しろそいつを守ってくれたのだからな。
あ、葬儀の家に代々
カルマ
伝わる名刀カルマ。
yeah, we held it just for you. In every case possible. Every trial.
日本を出発するとき、あいつが身に帯びていた。日本人の魂であり、いつもそばに置いておきたいと。そして、あの事件が起こって、僕は千里さんからこの刀を託されたんだ。お前が残した思いとともに。こいつがあるといつもお前が見守ってくれている気がしていた。
Yeah, for sure. And now you're back. You want the sword back. So the professor was your father, Kazuma.
やっとたどり着きました。父上。
But why?
父上、まさかお前知っていたのか。
He knew.
その面影だけどとても信じられない。殺人鬼の正体が麻生木一馬の父だったなんて。
Mass murderer. Ooh, I know it's a wax brick, but
カズマ様。
なるほど。貴様と積もる話はあるが、今はその時ではない。また会おう。
wait, you're gonna leave? Wait, 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 you just left?
麻生木一馬は
But why?
こうして
Ignore the background noise, guys.
法廷から出て行った。
He just straight up left. So he's the living after image of the man who took my brother's life, is he? Was Von Zeke just standing there after he opened it? Yes, Kazuma Asogi, my best friend. 3 months ago when Lord Strongheart introduced us, I had an inkling that there was something there. Some connection. But why did Lord Strongheart do that? Why did he make Cosmo Lord Von Zeke's apprentice? And when he was suffering amnesia too? That man was apprehended, even executed. But his legacy just won't die. That's the sad truth. Anyways, that's all I had to say. I thank you for meeting with me as I asked. He's really gonna leave? Oh, he just disappears in thin air. "10 years ago, my grandmother took me to the railway station. We were there to meet my father from the train. For me, it was the first time I've ever seen him. But he just... What is he gonna do now that he's here? Poor Susato-san. All this tied up with the painful memories for her too. She's never talked about this with me before though. Took some time to adjust having father around, but just so I was starting to get used to it. He called me into his study one day. He told me that a great friend of his had passed away in London, and that the friend had left behind a son, a boy, 7 years my senior. Father told me the boy had made a promise to his late father, so he was studying to become a defense lawyer. I wanted to help, so I studied to become a qualified judicial assistant. As I'm sure you worked out, that young man's name was Kazuma Asogi. Yeah, I figured. So you see, that's how he and I met.
親友は束の間僕たちの前に姿を現して再び消えた。そしてその瞬間、止まっていた時は動き出す。巨大な運命の車輪が回り始める。きしむような音を聞いた気がした。それは確かに何かが始まり、何かが終わるきっかけだった。
I'm very curious what would be, since we're done with case number 3, what's gonna be case number 4? Like, what's gonna be really case number 4? But yeah, that was case number 3. A very, very long case indeed. And we're about to start episode 4. Probably next time. And yeah, I thought this was a really great case. I really liked how deep it was, for the fact that we thought it was Drebber all this time, but it turned out it was actually Dr. Scythe this whole time. And then we realized the corpse was actually alive when Mr. Asmund fell from the drop. Which I find... Wow. I can't believe it. Yeah, anyways, I'll see you guys all next time.